39 by Jared, Edmond, and Faisal. Our problem areas are the PEIH amphitheater, no parking on campus, and revolving doors. The PEIH amphitheater is known to hold lectures, known for like larger groups and such, but they also use rooms that use Zoom to just communicate to the other people if there's no more space. A problem statement. Does the design of the amphitheater impact the students' quality of learning? Methodology. So for the methodology, I use like different insights like a journey map, an empathy map, and a user persona. So here on the bottom, it's the empathy map and the journey map. So it's just talking to you about like the gains, the pain, and like the other stuff. And then the results were that I gathered from it was that the amphitheater wasn't designed specifically for students in mind. And then with all those like results, I created a new mind map underneath explaining all of the stuff. Conclusion, it's saying that the amphitheater wasn't like designed with the students in mind at all, rather than just like more or less just functionality.
The no on-campus parking in Parramatta City doesn't have it's a negatively impacts staff and students and other stakeholders. This becomes an issue because you'd have to leave the house earlier, making it harder to estimate the time due to traffic flow, and it's a very busy suburb. And also the increase in parking fees, since you're always consistently going, especially for staff and students, they're going multiple times a week for multiple hours. Problem statement. The lack of parking does affect the users of peers' experience. In Parramatta City, like I said earlier, Hassel Street, Parramatta Station, Westwood Parking, and the public transport are multiple ways to arrive to the uni. This affects designers, policymakers, staff, and students and stakeholders. And this has been for 4 years due to the lack of no space. The methodology used to investigate the impact of parking availability on peer users through a visual research storyboard that was developed, which recorded key observations for the 3 nearby utilised car parks by peer users, which are Hassel Street, Parramatta, Westfield, and Parramatta Station. Each building was analysed based on its proximity to the campus, pricing, entry and exit design, traffic flow, and user convenience. Observations of these car parks were captured through photographs and annotated with scripts, which consisted of insight and action-based reflection. Doing this allowed for a comparative evaluation of how infrastructure influences the daily accessibility and satisfaction for users. By completing an empathy map, it's easier to illustrate the struggles and more likely outcomes that users of peer will fulfill. This diagram allows us to figure out outcomes faced by the users' struggles through experience, emotion, and thoughts, which allows us to find outcomes that are able to solve or even weaken the issue. In conclusion, peers' lack of parking does negatively affect the user experience by having endless parking fees, walking to the building through bad weather, busy traffic flow, and the chance of not finding parking spots.
The revolving doors found at the entrance of the PIH building can be found near the Hassel Street entrance campus, and the images show how big and underutilized the space around it is. The problem statement question is, does the design affect the user's experience? Yes, it does, because large items can't get through. It's usually smaller than other professional institutes as well. And the alternative accessibility doors are also much easier to use. And the stakeholders and the users of the building often struggle to use the revolving door. The first observation with the photo documentation shows how the door is smaller than it's supposed to be. This means that large items can't get through easily, and the only visible button is a slow button, which means that it can't be utilized as it should be. The results show the empathy map here that make it easier to understand the problem of the revolving doors. And to conclude, it just means that the speed of the doors should be controlled more effectively, and the space next to the doors should be used to make it bigger. The group problem statement shows how the accessibility and access services impact the students attending the university. Each group member has their own observations and results, which communicates that the PEIH building wasn't designed perfectly, as it contains design flaws that affects its users. The overlapping issue with each group member's observations was the lack of access and accessibility services. This kind of neglect can impact all the students, especially those with disabilities, and the structural and design flaws of the campus can be easily fixed with the mentioned solutions above.